2 weeks into Ukraine's grinding southeastern counteroffensive, Ukrainian forces are still pressing forward from the west and north, tightening a vise around a key Russian formation and threatening to unravel months of painstaking Russian defensive work. The fighting has intensified across a broad swath of the front, with both sides pouring in reinforcements, artillery, and drones. Ukrainian casualties have risen as Russian commanders rush fresh troops and firepower toward their fracturing positions. But the hurried Russian response has come at a cost: disorganization, exposure, and mounting losses. One particularly bloody clash unfolded near the village of Dobropillia, which anchors the western edge of the Russian 36th Combined Arms Army's defensive belt, straddling Dnipropetrovsk Oblast and Zaporizhzhia Oblast in the southeast. The area has become a focal point of the Ukrainian push, as advances there threaten to roll up Russian positions from the flank and sever critical ground lines of communication. According to battlefield accounts circulating among military observers, as many as 15 Russian troops were killed or wounded when they crowded into a single unarmored truck and drove along the T-0401 highway just north of Dobropillia in broad daylight earlier this week. The movement was perilous from the outset. Ukrainian drones have dominated the skies over the sector, and Russian vehicle traffic, especially unarmored transport, has repeatedly drawn swift and deadly fire. The truck and its passengers were reportedly spotted by a Ukrainian battle group that has been steadily advancing in the area since Russian forces suffered a command and control breakdown earlier this month. That breakdown, Ukrainian officials say, was compounded by a communications crisis. At the request of the Ukrainian government, Elon Musk's satellite communications company Starlink disabled terminals believed to be stolen or illicitly obtained by Russian forces. The move effectively cut off a number of Russian headquarters from satellite connectivity and degraded drone coordination in early February. At roughly the same time, the Kremlin restricted military access to non-government social media platforms, including the widely used messaging app Telegram, which many Russian units had relied on for frontline communication. The twin disruptions sowed confusion. Russian units that had depended on improvised digital networks suddenly found themselves struggling to relay targeting data, coordinate maneuvers, or maintain situational awareness. Drone reconnaissance sorties declined in frequency and effectiveness, and artillery response times reportedly lengthened. Sensing an opportunity, Ukrainian commanders moved quickly. A battle group drawn from several assault units struck the western flank of the Russian 36th Combined Arms Army, whose 4 regiments and brigades had been inching toward Zaporizhzhia, roughly 75 kilometers to the west. Ukrainian troops first cleared Russian elements from the broad gray zone between established lines, using small unit assaults supported by first-person view, FPV drones, and precision artillery. Once the buffer area was reduced, Ukrainian forces began probing and then penetrating the Russian defensive line around Dobropillia itself. The Russian reaction was swift but chaotic. Observers reported that Moscow committed a significant number of reserve units to stabilize the front and launched counterattacks south of Dobropillia in an effort to blunt the Ukrainian wedge. It remains unclear whether the ill-fated truck north of the village was carrying reinforcements from these reserves or troops redeploying under orders amid the confusion. What is clearer is how the engagement unfolded. A Ukrainian FPV drone reportedly struck the unprotected truck first, immobilizing it on the roadway and scattering its occupants into adjacent fields and ditches. Within minutes, Ukrainian artillery began to bracket the area, saturating it with high explosive shells. When a Ukrainian infantry team later advanced to secure the site, they encountered what one account described as catastrophic losses among the Russian detachment. The clash underscores a broader pattern emerging in the southeastern theater. As Russian units falter on the ground, they have sought to compensate with increased firepower from the air and rear areas. although many of their satellite-guided drones have struggled amid communications disruptions. Russian commanders have reinforced the sector with additional artillery batteries and specialized drone teams, including operators from the elite Rubicon, also spelled Rubicon Center, known for deploying fiber-optic guided drones that are resistant to jamming. The Russian Air Force has also stepped up its use of precision glide bombs, launched from fighters operating beyond the reach of most Ukrainian air defenses. These munitions, guided by satellite navigation, can strike assault formations and logistics hubs with devastating effect. Monitoring groups report a significant uptick in artillery barrages, drone strikes, and glide bomb attacks against Ukrainian assault units in recent days. The result is a punishing exchange. Ukrainian forces continue to advance in places, exploiting Russian missteps and communication failures, but at a rising human cost. Russian forces, meanwhile, are suffering heavy casualties of their own as they rush to plug gaps and counterattack under pressure. The destruction of a single truckload of troops on a sunlit highway near Dobropillia is only one episode in a broader, brutal contest, one in which speed, coordination, and control of the electromagnetic spectrum are proving as decisive as armor and artillery.